Discussion on verses 1 to 11 of 11. This chapter opens with a description, whose precise meaning has been the subject of extensive discussion and debate among scholars. Chapter 100 Al-Adiyat, verses 1 to 5.
By the races panting, and the producers of sparks when striking, and the charges at dawn, stirring up thereby clouds of dust, arriving thereby in the center collectively.
One possible understanding of these verses is that they depict a caravan of horsemen charging at dawn against their adversaries, a familiar scene both during and prior to the time of revelation. These verses highlight the courage, discipline, and loyalty of the horses, which rush into battle for their owners without hesitation or question, obeying instinctively and faithfully. In stark contrast, most people fail to display even a fraction of the loyalty and obedience that these animals demonstrate toward their master, Allah the Exalted, despite being fully aware of His absolute authority and the blessings they have been granted. The excuses people make for their negligence do not negate the reality of their ingratitude. Chapter 100 Al-Adiyat, verses 6 to 7.
Indeed, mankind to his Lord is ungrateful, and indeed he is to that a witness.
A person who takes care of another's needs, such as providing food or shelter, naturally deserves gratitude. Likewise, since Allah the Exalted has provided every blessing within the universe to people, it is only just and fitting that humans express gratitude to Him. Gratitude manifests in three primary ways: intention, speech, and action. Gratitude of intention means performing actions solely to please Allah the Exalted. If deeds are done for other reasons, no true reward is obtained, as warned in a hadith found in Jami at Tirmidhi, number 3154. A sign of pure intention is the absence of expectation for praise or recognition from others. Gratitude through speech entails expressing what is good or remaining silent, while gratitude through action involves using the blessings granted by Allah the Exalted in ways that are pleasing to Him, as outlined in the Holy Quran and the traditions of the Holy Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him. Such proper gratitude not only multiplies the blessings a person receives, but also fosters true peace of mind in both worlds, achieved through balance in mental and physical states and correctly placing everything and everyone within one's life. Chapter 14 Ibrahim, verse 7.
If you are grateful, I will surely increase you in favor.
Additionally, human experience teaches that when a person owns an object, it is natural for them to expect it to be used according to their wishes. By extension, Allah the Exalted, as the creator, owner, and sustainer of everything, including humans themselves, possesses the absolute right to decide how every blessing should be used. Obedience to Allah the Exalted is therefore the only fair and proper course of action, for He owns the entirety of creation and all within it. Similarly, when someone lends an item to another, it is understood that it must be used according to the owner's intentions. Allah the Exalted has granted each person every worldly blessing as a loan, not as an outright gift. This divine loan must be repaid, not through returning the blessing itself, but by employing it in ways that please Allah the Exalted. In contrast, the blessings of paradise are gifts, entirely free for use according to the desires of their inheritors. Chapter 7 Al-Araf, verse 43.
And they will be called, "This is paradise which you have been made to inherit for what you used to do."
Thus, it is essential for people not to conflate the worldly blessings, which are alone to be used responsibly, with the gifts of paradise, which are bestowed freely for the reward of righteous deeds. Understanding this distinction shapes the mindset of a person, encouraging them to act with sincere gratitude, to use their blessings correctly, and to maintain obedience and loyalty to Allah the Exalted, ensuring peace, balance, and success in both this life and the hereafter. Since obedience to Allah the Exalted often conflicts with the desires and ambitions of people, many persist in ingratitude by misusing the blessings they have been granted. They become absorbed in their attachment to worldly things, convinced that fulfillment and peace of mind lie in wealth, status, relationships, and personal freedom. Chapter 100 Al-Adiyat, verse 8.
And indeed he is, in love of worldly things, intense.
This intense attachment blinds a person to reality. Worldly possessions and achievements, such as fame, wealth, authority, family, friends, and career, only hold true value when accompanied by inner peace. Without peace of mind, these very blessings become burdens rather than sources of comfort. Instead of bringing satisfaction, they amplify anxiety, pressure, and dissatisfaction. A person may outwardly possess everything others aspire to, yet inwardly feel empty, restless, and overwhelmed. This demonstrates that peace of mind is not a product of material success, but a result of using blessings in a manner that pleases Allah, the Exalted. When a person turns away from divine guidance, they inevitably lose balance within themselves. Their mental and physical state becomes disordered, and they begin to misplace priorities, giving undue importance to things that do not truly benefit them while neglecting what is essential. Relationships, which are meant to be sources of support and comfort, become strained and burdensome. Careers and wealth, instead of providing stability, become sources of relentless stress. In this confused state, a person often misidentifies the cause of their problems, blaming others, such as family members or spouses, for the turmoil they experience. Acting on this misunderstanding, they may distance themselves from sincere and supportive people, believing this will bring relief. In reality, such actions only deepen their difficulties, increasing loneliness, emotional instability, and inner conflict. If this pattern continues unchecked, it can lead to severe consequences. The misuse of blessings and persistent disobedience to Allah, the Exalted, gradually erodes a person's well-being, potentially resulting in anxiety, depression, harmful dependencies, and even thoughts of self-destruction. This reality is evident in many who outwardly possess great wealth and luxury, yet inwardly suffer from profound distress. Their lives serve as a clear reminder that material abundance cannot compensate for spiritual neglect. Moreover, this heedless lifestyle prevents a person from preparing for their accountability on Judgment Day. While they may be preoccupied with temporary pleasures, they neglect the lasting consequences of their actions. As a result, not only do they suffer in this world through inner turmoil and imbalance, but they also face a far more severe outcome in the hereafter. Thus, the pursuit of worldly desires at the expense of obedience to Allah, the Exalted, ultimately leads to loss in both worlds, whereas true success lies in aligning one's life with divine guidance, which alone brings lasting peace and stability. Chapter 100 Al-Adiyat, verse 8.
And indeed he is, in love of worldly things, intense.
Sharing one's blessings with others is a clear expression of sincerity towards both Allah, the Exalted, and His creation. When a person gives from what they have been granted, whether wealth, time, knowledge, or support, they demonstrate that they recognize these blessings as a trust, not a personal entitlement. In contrast, adopting greed and withholding these blessings prevents a person from fulfilling the rights of others, which inevitably contributes to the spread of corruption, imbalance, and injustice within society. This selfish attitude not only harms others but also corrupts the individual's own character and spiritual state. Furthermore, the one who refuses to share what they have been given should reflect on how they themselves wish to be treated. As warned in a hadith found in Sahih Muslim, number 2376, the way a person deals with others is often reflected in how they are treated by Allah, the Exalted. If a person withholds, they risk being deprived. If they give, they invite generosity from Allah, the Exalted. This principle establishes a powerful moral balance. Generosity brings increase, while miserliness leads to loss, even if that loss is not immediately visible. In addition, generosity elevates a person in every sense. As mentioned in a hadith found in Jami at Tirmidhi, number 1961, the generous person is near to Allah, the Exalted, near to paradise, near to people, and distant from hell. This is because their generosity compels them to fulfill both the rights of Allah, the Exalted, and the rights of people. By consistently using their blessings in ways that are pleasing to Allah, the Exalted, they develop a balanced mental and physical state. They are able to organize their lives correctly, place people and responsibilities in their proper positions, and prepare effectively for their accountability on the Day of Judgment. This inner balance naturally leads to tranquility, stability, and clarity in both worlds. Moreover, generosity strengthens social bonds. A generous person earns the respect, love, and trust of others, which fosters unity and compassion within families and communities. Their actions contribute to the spread of justice and harmony, as they actively fulfill the needs and rights of those around them. In this way, generosity is not only a personal virtue, but also a social force that uplifts entire communities. On the other hand, the stingy person deprives both themselves and others. Their greed prevents them from fulfilling obligations, leading them to misuse the blessings they have been entrusted with. This results in a state of inner imbalance, where priorities become confused and relationships are mishandled. They fail to prepare for their accountability on the day of judgment, as their focus remains fixed on accumulation rather than responsibility. Even if they possess material comforts, their inner state is often marked by anxiety, dissatisfaction, and unrest. Additionally, miserliness damages one's standing among people. The one who refuses to give is often disliked and distrusted, as others recognize their unwillingness to support or benefit anyone but themselves. This attitude contributes to the breakdown of trust and the spread of injustice, not only within wider society, but even within their own household. In reality, generosity is a source of true enrichment, while greed is a form of hidden poverty. The one who gives for the sake of Allah, the Exalted, gains far more than what they part with, both inwardly and outwardly, whereas the one who withholds may appear wealthy, yet lives in a state of deprivation. Therefore, a person should strive to adopt generosity in all aspects of life, recognizing that every blessing they possess is a trust from Allah, the Exalted, and that its correct use is the path to peace of mind, balance, and lasting success in both worlds. In order to encourage one to adopt the right behavior, whereby they control their greed, ensuring the correct use of the blessings they have been granted as outlined in Islamic teachings, Allah, the Exalted, reminds people of the inevitability of their accountability on Judgment Day, where every intention, word, and action will be judged with perfect justice and precision by the one who knows all things. Chapter 100 Al-Adiyat, verses 9-11.
But does he not know that, when the contents of the graves are scattered, and that within the breasts is obtained, indeed their Lord with them that day is fully acquainted.
Rejecting the possibility of human resurrection on the Day of Judgment is an astonishing position, especially when the created world is saturated with signs of life, emerging from states that appear utterly lifeless. Allah, the Exalted, has woven patterns of revival into every layer of existence, repeating them across days, seasons, and generations. These signs are so frequent, so consistent, and so accessible that only those who refuse to reflect remain unconvinced. Rain descends upon barren earth, transforming soil that seemed dead into fertile ground. Dry, hardened seeds, lifeless to the eye, absorb water, swell, and split open, producing vegetation that sustains countless creatures. If Allah, the Exalted, brings forth life from a seed buried in the ground, then resurrecting the human being, who is likewise placed into the earth, is no more difficult for the one who created both. The cycle of the seasons reinforces this truth. In winter, trees stand stripped of vitality, yet with the arrival of spring they awaken, leaves unfurl, flowers bloom, and landscapes that once appeared dead burst into life. This transformation repeats year after year, silently proclaiming the reality of resurrection. Even within the human body, resurrection is a continuous process. Skin cells, blood cells, and countless other tissues die and are replaced every moment, yet people rarely pause to consider the profound implications of this constant renewal. A caterpillar enters a cocoon in a state resembling death, only to emerge as a butterfly, transformed as though granted a new existence. Certain desert plants remain dry and lifeless for years, yet the moment rain touches them, they bloom with remarkable speed and beauty. Forests devastated by fire eventually regenerate, as new shoots emerge from charred soil and entire ecosystems return to life. Animals that hibernate enter deep states of inactivity where bodily functions slow dramatically, mimicking death, yet they awaken with renewed strength when the season changes. Even the oceans reflect this pattern, as coral reefs that appear dead after bleaching events can regenerate when conditions improve. The heavens themselves display this cycle. Stars collapse and scatter their elements across space, and from this material new stars and planets are formed, creation emerging from destruction. The daily rhythm of sleep and wakefulness also reflects this truth. Sleep resembles a minor death, for the sleeper's awareness is withdrawn and their senses suspended. Allah, the Exalted, then restores life by returning the soul to the body for those destined to continue living. Chapter 39 Az-Zumar, verse 42.
Allah takes the souls at the time of their death, and those that do not die He takes during their sleep. Then he keeps those for which he has decreed death, and releases the others for a specified term. Indeed, in that are signs for a people who give thought.
Furthermore, the Day of Judgment is something that must occur. When a person reflects upon the universe, they observe countless examples of perfect balance. The Earth is positioned at a precise distance from the Sun. Even a slight deviation would render it uninhabitable. The water cycle is perfectly regulated to sustain life. The ground is soft enough for delicate shoots to penetrate, yet strong enough to support mountains and structures. These and many other examples point not only to the existence of a creator, but also to the presence of deliberate balance in his creation. Yet one major aspect of this world remains unbalanced: the actions of human beings. Oppressors often escape punishment, while the oppressed endure hardship without receiving their full reward. Many Muslims who sincerely obey Allah, the Exalted, face difficulties and receive only a small portion of their reward in this world, while those who openly disobey Him enjoy worldly luxuries. Just as Allah, the Exalted, has established balance in all aspects of creation, the reward and punishment of human actions must also be balanced. Since this balance is not fully realized in this world, it must necessarily occur at another time, namely, on the Day of Judgment. Allah, the Exalted, could fully reward and punish in this world, but one of the wisdoms behind delaying full recompense is that He grants people opportunity after opportunity to repent and correct their behavior. He does not grant believers their full reward here, because this world is not paradise. Moreover, belief in the unseen, particularly the unseen reward awaiting the believer in the hereafter, is a fundamental aspect of faith. Believing only in what can be perceived through the senses, such as receiving full reward in this world, would not carry the same spiritual significance. Fear of full punishment in the hereafter, and hope in receiving complete reward, encourage a person to abstain from sins and perform righteous deeds. For the day of recompense to begin, this material world must come to an end, for reward and punishment can only be given once every person's actions have concluded. Therefore, the day of recompense cannot occur until the actions of humanity have ceased, which indicates that the material world must inevitably end. Reflecting upon these realities strengthens a person's faith in the Day of Judgment and encourages them to prepare for it by using the blessings they have been granted in the correct manner, as outlined in the Holy Quran and the traditions of the Holy Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him. Through this preparation, they attain peace of mind and success in both worlds by achieving a balanced mental and physical state, and by correctly placing everything and everyone within their life. Chapter 45 Al-Jatiyah, verse 22.
For Allah created the heavens and the earth for a purpose, so that every soul may be paid back for what it has committed, and none will be wronged.
And chapter 100 Al-Adiyat, verses 9-11.
But does he not know that, when the contents of the graves are scattered, and that within the breasts is obtained, indeed their Lord with them that day is fully acquainted.
It is essential for a person to regularly evaluate their own actions, for no one knows the reality of their deeds better than themselves, except Allah, the Exalted. When an individual sincerely examines their conduct, this honest self-assessment naturally leads them to repent from their mistakes and motivates them to pursue righteous deeds, which includes using the blessings they have been granted in ways pleasing to Allah, the Exalted. Such reflection brings peace of mind in both worlds, enabling a person to achieve a balanced mental and physical state, and to place everything and everyone in their life in the correct position. However, the one who neglects this practice drifts into heedlessness, misusing the blessings they possess and failing to recognize their true purpose. As a result, they fall into an unbalanced mental and physical state, misplacing priorities, relationships, and responsibilities. This inevitably leads to stress, turmoil, and hardship, even if they enjoy certain worldly comforts. Worse still, their negligence prevents them from preparing for their accountability on the Day of Judgment, making their punishment in the hereafter far more severe. Such a person will find the weighing of their deeds on that day extremely difficult, and it may ultimately result in their being cast into hell. A wise business owner constantly reviews their accounts, ensuring that their enterprise remains on the right course and that all required documentation, such as tax returns, is completed accurately. In contrast, a careless business owner ignores their accounts, leading to financial loss and failure to prepare the necessary paperwork. Those who neglect their financial obligations face penalties that only increase their difficulties. Yet the consequences of failing to assess and prepare one's deeds for the scales of judgment are far more serious. The penalty is not a monetary fine, but a punishment that is severe, lasting, and truly unbearable. Chapter 99 Az-Zalala, verses 7 to 8.
So whoever does an atom's weight of good will see it, and whoever does an atom's weight of evil will see it.
Finally, a person must not only avoid committing sins, but should also strive to avoid wasting their blessings on vain and purposeless activities. Although such activities may not be sinful, they are not righteous deeds, and they will lead to deep regret on the day of judgment when a person realizes that the time, energy, and blessings they spent on trivial matters could have been placed on the good side of the scales had they used them correctly. In some cases, the slightest difference between the two sides of the scales may determine whether a person attains salvation or falls into damnation. To conclude, a person must wholeheartedly embrace and act upon the teachings of Islam for their own benefit, even when these teachings challenge personal desires or inclinations. Their attitude should resemble that of a sensible patient who trusts the judgment of a skilled physician, recognizing that the prescribed treatment, though bitter, demanding, or restrictive, is ultimately what protects their well-being and secures long-term health. Just as such a patient attains physical and mental stability through disciplined adherence to medical advice, the one who follows divine guidance attains inner clarity, balance, and tranquility. This is because only Allah, the Exalted, possesses the complete and perfect knowledge required for a human being to achieve a sound mental and physical state, and to place every blessing, responsibility, and relationship in its proper place. Human knowledge, regardless of how advanced it becomes, can never reach this level of perfection. Even with extensive research into psychology, biology, and human behavior, society cannot resolve every difficulty a person encounters, nor can it fully shield individuals from stress, imbalance, or misfortune. Human judgment is inevitably shaped by limited experience, restricted perspective, and personal bias. In contrast, Allah, the Exalted, possesses absolute knowledge and has conveyed what humanity requires for a balanced and harmonious life through the Holy Quran and the teachings of the Holy Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him. The distinction between those who live according to divine guidance and those who do not is evident in their conduct and the outcomes of their choices. Those who align themselves with Islamic teachings display emotional steadiness, sound judgment, and order in their lives, whereas those who disregard these principles often experience confusion, instability, and inner turmoil. Although patients may not fully understand the science behind their treatment yet trust their physician, Allah, the Exalted, does not call people to follow Islam blindly. Instead, he invites them to reflect, to observe, and to recognize the truth of his guidance through clear and observable signs. He calls people to approach his teachings with insight, fairness, and sincerity, rather than superficial imitation or unthinking compliance. Chapter 12 Yusuf, verse 108.
Say, this is my way, I invite to Allah with insight, I and those who follow me.
Furthermore, Allah, the Exalted, alone governs the spiritual heart, the true seat of tranquility, and he alone grants or withholds peace of mind. Chapter 53 An-Najm, verse 43.
And that it is he who makes one laugh and weep.
This reality makes it clear that genuine peace of mind is reserved for those who use their blessings in the manner prescribed by Allah, the Exalted. Those who live in obedience to divine guidance experience balance and serenity in all aspects of life, while those who misuse their blessings fall into confusion, instability, and distress. True tranquility, mental, physical, and spiritual, arises only from living according to the wisdom revealed by Allah, the Exalted, and recognizing that his guidance is the sole path to harmony in both this world and the hereafter. Chapter 16 An-Nahl, verse 97.
Whoever does righteousness, whether male or female, while he is a believer, we will surely cause him to live a good life, and we will surely give them their reward in the hereafter according to the best of what they used to do.
All praise is due to Allah, Lord of the worlds, and may peace and blessings be upon his final messenger, Muhammad, his noble family and companions.